Hello, everybody. How are you? Welcome to October 8th, 2020's member update. We have a lot of updates. This will be posted on our website, but don't be judgy about our website because it's being redone. So if it doesn't look very fresh, it's because it's being massively redone. And I think the new one will be out in the next week or so. It took longer than we thought. So again, when you look at the website for stuff, the stuff you're looking for will be in the bottom left corner, I believe. First of all, who watched the debates? I want everybody raise your hand if you watched the debate. If you said how do to everybody. Nobody has their camera on, so who knows if you watched the debates. Oh well, I did, of course. If you have comments that you want to make, you can put them into the chat box. If you want to comment privately, then I think at the bottom of the screen you hit private and then send it directly to me. I'll still answer the question, but I guess people won't know it's you. One of the things I do want to know in the chat box is, do you guys like Thursday or Friday better? It seems like on Friday we get a better turnout, but I moved it to Thursday because Thursday is when the county list comes out and we kind of know where everybody's. So, you know, kind of put comments down below. Okay, the first one is kind of a surprise that I kind of saw coming and did not see coming. The Department of Health Services, I have so many notes over here, you guys. It is unbelievable how many notes I have. The Department of Health Services has come out with two things. One, online CPR, where you don't have to do the in-person CPR, has been extended through October for 30 days from October 12th. Executive orders have to be extended every 30 days. So the fact that they're telling us that they're extending it looks like they're getting ready to maybe make some changes. The one that we didn't see coming was the in-person classes for on-the-job training, or let me back up. On-the-job training will no longer be acceptable 30 days from October 12th. The department says that there's providers now, training centers that are open for business and are allowing in-person training. So 30 days from October 12th, and I probably should have counted out when that was, but I'll say right around November 10th or 11th, that will no longer be allowed to have on-the-job training. However, there's a possibility that this will change depending on how COVID is as we approach wintertime. So kind of, you know, we'll let you know as soon as we hear. They just notified us of this change this morning, so we'll let you know. But at this point, plan in 30 days that you'll need to send your caregivers to classroom training. And also know that the rule waiver for CPR is still in effect. No questions? Okay, as you know, I talked about see if anybody watched the debates. As you know, residents have the right to vote. And in Arizona, caregivers are allowed to help complete the ballot. Not vote for them, but you are allowed to complete the ballot. So if you have residents that are asking for help to do ballots, you're allowed to do that. Depending on your company's policy, of course. If you have family from out of state calling, and we're seeing a lot of that this year, more than I've really ever seen, that families are calling from out of state asking, please make sure my dad or my mom votes, make sure they're valid. And it can be sticky waters because we've had a couple instances where the families called and said, listen, my dad's always voted Republican or Democrat, and I know that's how he's going to vote. You know, if he can't vote for himself, I don't know. The Maricopa, well, the election boards, as we talked about last week, are allowed entrance into your communities as long as they're doing the proper hand sanitizing, PPE, etc., to help residents vote. Okay, so for frequently asked questions, the county report is out. I think Mariah sent it out earlier today. Nobody is in substantial. Everybody is in moderate except for good old Greenlee, who is still in minimal. They're still chugging along at minimal. I think I was told they have 3 assisted living in the county, but I don't know. That's what somebody told me. So everything is still motoring downstream as it has for the past month or so. one of the big questions I keep getting asked is, people are looking at the percent positivity of the, of the different reopening plan, and they're comparing it to other documents being presented in the state. I understand the percent positivity is going up. We're all watching that pretty closely, and we're noticing it's going up. Although our numbers, if you notice, it's 800, 600, 800, 600. So the numbers are kind of just bouncing around, but there is an increase. However, for reopening, the only thing you should focus on is whether you're in substantial, minimal, or moderate. So don't get caught in as you watch percent positivity. I know there's some companies out there that's how they do it across the United States. That's not how it's done here. So just that document is the only document you really are going to lock into. Now, for planning purposes, of course, you want to look at percent positivity, because, it could be a precursor to our numbers going up. And like I said, they're going up now, and who knows? I mean, COVID has not gone away. We all know that. So I get asked a lot about who can enter the buildings when. So we're going to do my three sisters. You have three sisters. The first sister is Diane. She just shows up and she wants to visit mom. If you're in substantial, she cannot. If you're in moderate, she is allowed outdoor visits. If you're minimal, she's allowed indoor, outdoor. Okay, the next sister shows up, Debbie. Debbie has a 48-hour COVID test. It has to be within 48 hours of when the test was taken. So if she took the test Monday at noon, she has until Wednesday at noon to show up at your doorstep. Any later than that, she cannot come in. This is a hard line in the sand that the Department of Health has to stay within those 48 hours. If she has the 48 hours test, she is allowed to have indoor visits. And this is developed mainly for memory care, but I mean, it can be used for anything. If she has indoor visits, she's allowed to remain in the room for 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, she can either move outdoor to outdoor visits, or the visit ends. If she has a roommate, then the roommate has to agree. The third path is Debbie, and Debbie is a designated essential visitor. So Debbie has to follow the path of how often she gets tested. If it's substantial, I think it's weekly, moderate, it's every 2 weeks, and minimal, it's every month. She must follow that pattern, or the pattern that you use to test your residents. She does not have unfettered access to your community. Although that word is in the document, she does not. They are allowed to go wherever you direct them to. If you direct them, they're allowed to go from the door to the resident's room, wherever you want them to go, but they cannot roam willy-nilly. She's allowed indoor, outdoor. She has free access like a caregiver. So I hope this is Debbie and Debbie twins. Did I say Debbie twice? Well, Diane, Donna, and Debbie. So I hope that helps. Diane just shows up on your doorstep, outdoor visits. Donna shows up with a 48-hour test, indoor visits for 15 minutes, otherwise back outside. And Debbie, who signs up as a designated essential visitor, can come in anytime, also within your community hours. So if your community hours are 6 a.m. to 5 p.m., then that's when she's allowed in. It is completely and totally up to you if you want to open your doors at midnight for a family member who's only flying in town for an evening or something. Again, the most important of this whole reopening plan is Department of Health Services is going to come in, and they are back to doing surveys. They're going to come in and they're going to ask to see your policies and procedures. As you know, this is how the department has been from day one. So whatever you say in your policies and procedures, then you have to follow that. The designated visitor does indeed need to have a negative test, which brings up the next issue. If you have had COVID, you were positive for COVID, whether you're symptomatic or you had it really bad, that doesn't matter. Once you have COVID, as you know, for the next 3 to 5 months, you will test positive. So this is impacting family members that might have had COVID 4 months ago. They can't get in under the 48-hour test because they'll test positive. Maricopa County is aware of this issue. They're looking into it to see if there's a resolution of any kind. But at this point, that is just how it is. The same with family members, and I get calls from family members. They can't get the test back in 48 hours. You know, that's the rules, and everybody's got to play by those rules. I will say that ASU gets the test back the fastest. And I know ASU, at least in Maricopa County, can get them back usually with 7 or 8 hours. The next one that gets it back pretty fast is, I just drew a blank who gets it back equally. Somebody else that gets, I think, oh, I'm sorry, urgent care. Urgent care is get them back quickly as well. So those are your two paths. And I understand that some places won't do it if you don't have symptoms. Again, you know, this is what the governor came up with, and this is what the task force came up with. And I mean, it has to be a fair and equitable system for everybody. So I know those of you in the rural area, especially up on the reservations and, you know, up in those far counties, we're advising you all to call down the governor's office. I know that they sent some rapid tests up to the to Hopis, to the Navajos, and a couple other tribes. They sent up the rapid tests so that could kind of help them open their communities as well. Oh, got a question. So the difference between the designated visitor entering and a family member with 48 hours. The designated visitor can enter anytime they want. The family member that has the 48-hour test can come in for one visit. That's it. That's all that test is good for. It's one visit with their family member for 15 minutes indoors. The designated essential visitor can come in every day and stay there 12 hours a day. Now, their role is supposed to be helping mom and dad get dressed, or, you know, whatever they do with mom and dad. So that they're kind of like, the best way to think of a designated essential visitor is a designated caregiver. And that was the term to originally be used, but we had to say no because assisted living already uses that term, and it just would have caused so much confusion in the marketplace. So, you know, the 48-hour test, it's a one-shot deal, and the designated essential visitor, I mean, I don't know if any comes in every day, but maybe. But their role is to take on a caregiver role, if that makes sense. The Abbott test is hitting the streets. A lot of you had it shipped to your buildings. As you can see, I mean, as we're watching what's taking place in the White House, as you can see, the Abbott test is not the most accurate test there is, but it's the test we got for rapid testing. So kind of keep that in mind, that, you know, it is what we have. And as we get more shipped, especially as we're entering the holiday seasons, we expect to see a lot of residents that are going to want to leave your communities and go, you know, hang out at Thanksgiving or, you know, Christmas and all that other good stuff. So, you know, you'll have to use the rapid test. So we have asked the governor to make sure that assisted living gets at least 100,000 tests to be able to spread it amongst the communities to help us. Maricopa County has also said that they are bulking up on PPE. So if you need PPE, you might want to ring them up. They, as of yesterday, distributed close to 2 million gloves. So if you need PPE, call over. I would say stock up on your PPE because nobody really knows what the winter's bringing. You know, as what was that show, Winter's Coming? That's kind of how we feel with this. So winter is fast approaching. Does anybody have any questions? Just confirm, anyone can be designated essential visitor and they need no test. The resident can name up to 2 people as an essential visitor. I'm not going to get into if the essential visitor goes on vacation and how that's done. We'll just leave that one because that one's even trickier. They can have 2 essential visitors. The essential visitor must be tested if you're in substantial once a week, moderate once every 2 weeks, and minimal once a month. So yes, they still need to be tested. And yes, we are aware that they're being tested probably more than caregivers. We understand that, but that's how the task force came up with it, you know, landed on this. So yes, the essential visitor is still being tested. And so again, you kind of have to look at the essential caregiver, the essential visitor as a caregiver, because their role is providing care to their mom or dad or aunt or uncle or whomever they are, and be able to stay in the room for as long as they want. Like I said, they can stay in from the minute you open your doors till you close at night, but they are tested. And, you know, like I said, every other week, I believe, for the moderate folk. I'd have to dig out my reopening plan. So yeah, I think, and there seems to be a lot of confusion on why people are confused on the essential visitor. They must be tested. They are, again, treated like a caregiver, but not really, because your caregiver can roam around the building. Essential caregivers, you really want to protect the rest of your residents. And if the resident has a shared room, then the shared buddy has to, or their surrogate has to say, yes, it's okay. And I know that the essential visitor is so confusing. It really is. The POA may designate the visitor frequently, but they have to go through some processes to do that. They have to submit the paperwork to switch out. You know, we may see essential visitors being switched out as we get closer to the holidays, but because it's so new, I'm not sure how many of you guys are seeing traction with essential visitors. I don't know if there's a lot of them or it's still new to families. I know the families are equally confused. Can a designated essential visitor touch the resident? Oh yeah, absolutely. They can hug up on them and kiss them and hug them and do all that stuff. They do have to wear, the essential visitor does have to have PPE on, you know, mask, gloves, they have to hand sanitize. They have to do all that, but yes, because they are considered a caregiver. Not that our caregivers really hug up on our residents, but it's the same thing. Essential visitors need a test. Right now we are moderate, so the test is good for 1 to 2 weeks in moderate, 2 weeks in moderate. And again, if I am incorrect on that, I will post it, but I believe it is every 2 weeks. So I'll check it out. I thought I had my reopening plan here. Yeah, where's Mariah when I need her? So and the essential visitor plan, I think, is posted to our website. If not, I'll post it up there for the essential visitor. But like I said, nobody is really all that clear on how it's done. The absolute main, most important thing with the essential visitor is you're in control of your building. You decide, I'm just checking over here. You decide on how you're going to control your front door. So that's what I'm saying when essential visitors don't necessarily have willy-nilly access. I know in the plan it says unfettered. We have talked to the governor's office. They keep telling us they're going to remove those words, unfettered. They do not. You will dictate how this happens. If you want the family to be able to go to activities, you know, small controlled activities, because now entertainers are allowed in, if they receive the testing, hairstylists, volunteers, therapy dogs, their handlers have to be tested. We are still chatting about religious folk and priests being able to come in without, you know, just unfettered. We believe that they should be tested, but the governor believes that religious people, ministers, priests, rabbis, should be treated as doctors, and doctors can come in without being tested. Our point is, doctors don't go, when a doctor goes to visit Mrs. Smith, the doctor doesn't go around talking to all the other residents. The priest, the rabbi, the minister, that's what they do. They minister. So our point is that even if they go see Mr. Smith, they're still going to, you know, residents are going to call them and want to hug up on them. So we need to ask them to be tested as well, but at this point they're not. And it is indeed 2 weeks of moderate. Thank you. It is 2 weeks of moderate. It's weekly and substantial and monthly and minimal. And to be honest, y'all, I thought we'd be in minimal. I was kind of surprised we weren't minimal today, just because although our percent positivity is going up, our numbers are holding flat. So that was a little bit of a surprise to me. But who knows where we'll be next week. Does anybody else have any questions? And I might, after this, at some point today, I might do an essential visitor video to just kind of explain it. But it is, it's just confusing. And the families are going to be confused. And the other challenge is on the essential visitor document on the last page is a number they can call and complain to the Department of Health Services. So we, of course, have spoken with the Department of Health Services and say, remember, the families can be confused on this and be complaining to you about something that might not be completely accurate. So make sure you talk with the provider as well. So if you get calls from the Department of Health Services or somebody pops over, just understand there's just a lot of confusion in the marketplace right now. Does anybody else have any questions? Is the state looking for test results and comparing those to logs? The state's making sure you're doing the test, so yes. To make sure that you're doing your testing as often as you're supposed to be. Now, it's not as strict in assisted living. I know some of you guys are attached to nursing homes, so you keep getting the two confused. CMS is not in assisted living, however, the CDC is over everyone. So however often you test your caregivers, you need to make sure that you have proof of testing and how you're keeping everything documented. And that's based on how you want to do it. Does anyone have an essential visitor form? Actually, Scott McCutcheon from Live Generation shared his with the governor's office. So I'll chat with him. I don't know if he's on this call or not. I'll chat with him and ask him, but the governor did make it a public document. So he has a form. And if anybody else has forms, for all this, you guys, we're all trying to find our way in the dark. So if you have forms that you want to share with everybody, or if you have something to make this easier to understand, feel free to share it with the crew. And so if anybody has the attestation, let me know. But I have Scott's from Live, and I have somebody else's that sent me theirs, and they did not give me permission to share it. So I'll just shoot them a quick email and ask them. Oh my gosh, this is a great question. The visitation rules, and I say this every time, and I can't believe I forgot to say it this time. The visitation rules are guidelines and recommendations. How you run your building is how you run your building. So if your company comes down and says, we're going to do this, this, and this, as long as it's not being less stringent, then it's a go. Department of Health Services does not have authority to survey on these because they're not rules or laws. So there is a caveat. However, you still should follow them within reason. But as I keep hammering, this is your building. So these are guidelines, these are recommendations. I know with nursing homes, it's a lot stricter because nursing homes have different guidelines and recommendations when it comes down to this kind of stuff. But for us, that's what this is. So if you're in the middle of an outbreak, you have one resident that has COVID, knock on wood, that's not true, or one staff member, if you so choose to lock your front door, that is up to you. If you don't want to let entertainers in, hairstylists, that's up to you. If you want to have community dining in small groups, socially distanced, masked and everything, that's up to you. So always be aware that these decisions are what you guys make them to be. I mean, you can call us and we'll give guidance, and if you're unsure, I have providers call me or email me all the time, and I'll email the department and say, what do you guys think about this? Or, it'll be a question that we'll ask on the task force. If you have questions, I mean, the task force meets every Tuesday. And if you have questions that you want me to ask the task force, I'd be happy to do that. So that was a great question. Thank you. Anybody else have any other, oh, you asked it twice. I missed it the first time. Does anybody else have questions, or is everybody good to go? Or, oh, Halloween. How do we handle Halloween? I'm starting to get those phone calls. Halloween's going to be tricky. The governor's office has not come out with anything yet. We haven't talked about it on the task force. I think it's something everybody's kind of trying to not discuss, because I'm not sure we want children knocking on our front door, or their parents. Handing out candy from residents, probably not going to be something that we do this year. I know a lot of you guys like to have the residents go out and have kids come in and trick or treat. I think that'll be something that won't be done this year. I think Halloween's going to be sadly a forgotten holiday this year. If that changes, I'll let you know, but I'm guessing that there won't be any kids coming in trick or treating or residents going out trick or treating, just because of the possible cross contamination. So, you know, if you want to do Halloween parties within your community amongst your residents, you're more than welcome to, again, keeping the groups less than 10 and socially distanced and masked and gloved and all that other good stuff. Tricky wasn't fun. So if nobody else has any questions, going once. We will keep this. It looks like the 2 people that voted want to keep it on Thursdays. If any of you guys want to shoot me an email, it'll stay on Thursdays. We'll probably keep it at noon, because when we did 11, we weren't able to get as many people because you all are still out in your communities doing community stuff. So we'll probably keep it at noon. If you think there's a better time, you can always shoot us an email, Mariah or I, an email, and let us know. Otherwise, you guys, if there's no more questions, I'm doing one more quick sweep. That's it. This recording will be posted on our website probably within an hour, because I have to wait for it to download and all that other good stuff. Have a great day, you guys. Have a great week. And don't forget to vote. You know, I say this every 4 years. Vote, 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 vote. You know, if you're right, please vote. Talk to you guys later. Have a great day. And thank you guys so much for everything you do. You take such good care of our residents at a lot of personal sacrifices to your own self and your own personal home life. So we appreciate it. Thanks, guys.